Oh yeah, Castle of Grief time. Game Wolf plays Hexen Mage. The 16th part of the Mage, but the God knows what video number because go by the title, absolute fill up my gas stein.
You have played this game too long, mortal.
I have heard you say that I played this game too long. Yeah, chess motifs. Chess for all. Speaking of, have you ever heard of 5D chess? It's about as amazing as it sounds. It involves time travel and parallel universes. Yup. Imagine that. You realize what that means, right? It means your pieces can, like, travel through time. So you could have, like, well, two queens in the same timeline, for instance. It's completely bullshit, and I love it. If Magnus can master that, then he's a god, I guess. I guess I will have my revenge on this level, since I am made of unstoppable magic. Oh, can't wait to stop looking at this dark stuff. It's like it's #1 gripe with this game. It's like, everything's too dark! Well, that's why you need defense against the dark arts. Ha ha ha, yeah. It's like, man, what if we have a class called Defense Against the Dark Arts, but we only have people who are practitioners of dark arts? Surely nothing will go wrong! It's like having someone enforcing the law not being by people who enforce the law. I see. Real life allegories as opposed to fictional ones. When I shoot these guys with my laser wand, they will not be lasting for long. Long-lasting flavor. Excellent. How it feels to chew 5 magic gum. It feels like brain juice. My brain's juices going in my meninges while the battle that hinges on my sword singes. Singes. It's my oranges. Jizz. Why am I wasting my time freezing him? I guess I just want to say, hey, freezy hand, do your free stuff. It feels more like maybe I thought something was behind him and thought maybe I'd get lucky and hit something back there. And I suppose it's a valid reason. Now, yeah, it's not like I was aiming at nothing. I was just hoping for the lock-on feature to apply overhead, and it doesn't really always work because it's just too I guess that's when you use your look-up button, actually. He's high up enough that maybe you can just forget about it. I can't wait to deal with all the gear collecting. Metal Gears! Alright, push that one. And then the stairs. You've heard of moats, but sometimes moats have become stairs. In our griefing castle, where everyone griefs. Too bad we've completely skipped the castle of depression, the castle of anger, the castle of denial. Immediately forget the castle of bargaining. 5 stages of the castle of grief. Which I suppose could be true in a sense. But then which part would be bargaining? The market, of course. Life is just the 5 stages of grief. The bargaining stage, however, has gone on far too long. I would make a bargain with you, since you have no concept of time in your universe. It's like, yeah. Actually, wait, that's a question and a half. What the fuck does happen to Dormammu's bullshit? With the dark dimensions, you've got, like, a multiverse. It's multiple Dormammus, buddy. Who knows, man? Particularly if the dimensions its own. It's like, no. I remember TMNT 2012 addressing that, which is like, okay, the Krang just go to every dimension because they're Dimension X, except, and they send one. It's like, you're going to the 2D verse, you know, as for like some sort of connection to the past show. And it's like, yeah, sure, you can explain it like that. You can superimpose our canon on the past canon by making the continuity as we go along. That's what writers have been doing since the 60s. Superimpose my writing. Then again, wouldn't like long-running biblical books be like that? The answer is yes. So I guess the word of one man turns out it's a bunch of contributors, which is basically every wiki now. So if you think about it, the wiki is the modern Bible. I don't know how wrong or right that is, unfortunately, or fortunately. You can never really tell with these things. All I know is if you don't donate $5 this year, it's going to go down for sure. Like the last 10 years, guys. It's like, you know, that's just for like running a circuit though. The thing is, I wouldn't have thought we could be that expensive in comparison to a lot of other things. They're doing a lot of things that you'd have to have maybe it's just all their file storage, like, I don't know, man. And it's not like they're, like, are there Wikipedia alternatives? Like, does Encyclopedia Britannica try to do something like that? This is all assuming we're actually making it an everything encyclopedia of everything. Oh yeah, I'm going there, to that place where I knock the knights down with my magic stick. Yes, with my magic stick. We're going to Outworld. Not doing anything. Don't have the power to say anything. Get my energy up, lest I worry too much. Shoot! Shoot and fire! I'm running on fumes by this point. My God. Maybe I shouldn't have done a triple-sized playthrough. I just have to do everything. Not necessarily everything. I have to be thorough, is what I have to be. If it's literally everything, then obviously there's some things I missed. And how would you even know to do that? Like, you can't say, I 100% at Hexen. No, not really. It's the struggle. The struggle of to say, what have you done? And, well, that's why I've decided to be like, well, you can say if it's a long play or not. Just do a regularized video series of every game you can cross. That's what we're doing. Dr. Strangelove. His love is strange. He rides a giant rocket, does a rodeo, all that kind of shit. Somebody set up us the bomb. Fluids in the water. Fluids. Oh, fluids. Flashelt. That's what I said. The flashelt of my flashette. You know what? That's a good idea for like a super heroine flashette. Seriously. Someone do that right now. This is not a request. I'm holding you hostage, whoever has the capability of doing so, so just assume if you have the power to do so that you're compelled to make this character. Yeah. I'm always confused when people call their characters their fiction characters, and I'm just like, it's your character then. It's really only in the context of when you want to make fan fiction that we call it a fiction character. At least, I assume so. Otherwise, why would you treat it as such? It's just a turn of phrase. Doesn't have to be analyzed so vigorously. And yet here we are, with my analyzed paradise lost from my analysis. This or that. Mobsters need psychologists too. They do, they do. Who does? We do. No way Simpsons doesn't, they're like, I forget what it's called, but considering the Flintstones has the Wonder Buffalo, I'm like, you know, Made me think a lot of inspiration of Simpsons was in fact Flintstones. I want to say I'm not exactly wrong, just with a lot less smoking ads. Although the smoking ads for Flintstones are weird because they're black and white. It's just like, I thought this was the sick bit. They just turned out to make ads cheaply, even if it was the 60s. They just figure that shit out, you know? Yeah. You wouldn't think, but that's what you do. How much of it is so true? I've already started my next game. Oh yes. Oh yes. I still want to say I don't want to be so slow on it. And honestly, I'm more than ready to just go fast as I fucking can. I'm doing my best right now, actually. It's just sometimes, you know, the game will like to have more energy when he doesn't. And I remember someone remarking, "Hey, when you work on the next thing?" It's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm like, stuff like Hexen really does take most of my energy. It is a fun game, but man, I have to really focus. It's different when I'm doing a platform, however. I mean, it's not like I'm not focusing, but it's a lot less like, I don't know. I think a first-person shooter requires a bit more of my brain RAM than a 2D platformer. Bram, as we call it. Ball raindrops. They keep falling on my head. But that doesn't mean your men can all come over. Yeah, man. By the way, now I know where the mocha comes from. That is true. So if you ever come out of a surgery with extreme pain, when you're like in the recovery phase, might I recommend a mocha? It does wonders! At least the first time. I can't promise that consecutive drinks of it will work, but I don't know, the way I did it, just like, I put the straw in, went right for the bottom, bam, because that's where the dark chocolate was. Right under the rest of the mix with the caffeine top it off. It was like, I feel great, you know. By the way, I'm not saying I'm picking up caffeine again. In a way I am, but it's more like, caffeine is not something I want to take turkey. I just need to make sure it wasn't taking over my life, and right now it's not. I mean, could it be? Could other things have made me worry so much? I mean, I didn't need it when I was sick that 1 month also, so, you know. Basically, it can be like any other medicine, which is to use it when you need it and not when you don't. Of course, then the difficulty is knowing when you need it and etc., etc. I don't need to tell you about life management, do I? On Game Wolf Plays fictional games channel, fictionally imparting you real-life advice from a fictional life standpoint. Nah! Here comes the cowboy. Here comes the cowboy. It's stuck in my head now. I know. What else would be good for me to do? More Hexen. Oh, yes. Yes, I think I was going to mention I will do Death Kings and Dark Citadels. This is a future thing. This is not a doing it right now thing. This is a definite, I'm definitely going to actually do this thing. At some point. So that includes Death Kings of the Dark Citadel, Hexen, and Hexen 2. I mean, yeah, I did Hexen. Doing Hexen. Death Kings of the Dark Citadel, Hexen 2, and Hexen 2 Full Praise. Yeah, there we go. So that'll be cool. I think the Hexen 2 playthrough especially needs to happen because it doesn't really get enough. I think it's severely overlooked, in my opinion. And I think that's just because, you know, there was a number of game mods for Quake 1, but by the time they were out, Quake 2 was already in the works, and it didn't really get that much time. So that might be why you might not know about stuff like that. But Quake mods tend to fit my mood, like, a lot. I never realized that before. Especially got this weird grungy CD audio, that's the best. Thank you, New Jersey Trenton Razor. You've done us all a favor by growing your nails to a ridiculous degree. Who can say whether you shoot the nails from your nail gun? Who can say whether the lasers come out of your wand as if you're a Jedi magic man? Magic Knight, Knight of Magic, Green Mana, Secrets of the Mana, Mana Mana Mana, Mana Mana. You say Mana or Mana? Well, I say banana, so there. Even though it's a long word, so don't worry about it too much. Or worry about it just enough so they get a little over in your head. Over in this corner now, we have the magic, the practitioner. You know, the concept of the wizard, the classic wizard look, is based upon Odin. And not to mention other things like the ancient Scythians, I think. Something like that. In terms of dress, anyway. As for explaining how magic works, it just does, alright? That's kind of the whole problem with making a wizard work in a game, is that you can just kind of do whatever the fuck you want with it. Which is good, but then it doesn't really become all that vague. It's like specifically vague. I don't know how else to describe how I feel about actually playing a wizard. I did have the Sorcerer's Apprentice look on time ago, though. Because I've been considered a wizard since like the age of 5. You know, some people are like, oh, you can't just be born smart. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's probably the most controversial thing. It's not as if you can't become smarter, but I think it's like if you're born strong versus born weak. It's not to say if you're weak you can't become strong, you just don't start that way. So I think everyone starts differently, even if they can come to the same, like, goal. Assuming we all know what even the same goal is, because I don't. That's where the problem lies, our differences that are innate without our control or our consent. Oh yes, I do not consent to exist, but here I am! That, oh man, that just makes you make it a theme. Isn't there someone you should ask for consent and it turns out to be like a child but like 20 years in the future? It's like, hey, I didn't ask for this, and then it's like, well, I mean, if you didn't ask for this, then you wouldn't have existed to tell us that you would have asked for this. Therefore, you have no choice but to be born. That is, yeah, time travel abortion purpose. Like, oops. It's like, it's the ultimate cancel culture. I cancel your existence! Retconned! Is there a shittier writing device than the retcon? I don't think so. That's just the writer being like, ah, forget what this other writer did. This is my shit now. It's like, my dude. It's not like they have to control what they're writing, but maybe you shouldn't make this super long series and just have, like, different titles. Like, have Amazing Spider-Man be different from, say, Spectacular Spider-Man, you know? Have it be different. It was made for him. Smitty Wibbenman Jensen. I mean, Dr. Jenkins. And Mr. Heineken and Dr. Jenkins. You know, the Dr. Jekyll and Hyde thing is totally about alcoholism. You can't tell me otherwise. Shooting a laser. Going to Pfizer. Ask your doctor if your magic wand lasts for over 3 hours. Just because it's charged doesn't mean it's alright. This activates my fight or flight. Cortisol. Adrenaline. Here we go. A lizard brain. From one lizard brain to the other. Oh, it's cold! Oh! By this point, it is definitely attrition, but I am strong, and it's so weird how I don't feel as tired as the game as I do as watching it. It's like, do you not enjoy it? Are you not entertained? I'm just like, you know, I'm here for the long haul, baby. I did this to my own damn self. It's not even torture, it's just mildly inconvenient. It's not... I don't even care how interested I am. I do care how tired I am, though. That's a real problem. Like, I just want to keep it going, and it's just like, no, now you must drink, like, 2 gallons of water in order to keep talking or something, shit like that. That's how I feel sometimes. Except it's like, instant. It's like, I just drank water. Well, now you're going to the restroom, and then you're thirsty again. It's like, you know. So I have to make a choice between going to sleep thirsty or needing the restroom. It's just like, you know, both are bad. This is the lowest common denominator dilemma, though. It's just like, do I do this or this? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Patreon makes my wall like that. No, it doesn't. Then again, if I had people supporting me monetarily, I don't feel like Patreon is going to actually make that better or worse. Then again, I should be asking for money from people who have it the most. And therein lies the rub. This is how people end up robbing other people. Didn't you know? But it's interesting, though, right? Like, when you talk about, like... Well, I mean, I've studied Christianity for, like, a decade or so. So, you know, make stealing a great... Like, stealing can be a great morality when it's just, like... What about when you don't even know how this person earned the money in the first place from decades of one guy who may have got it unfairly from someone else despite consent? Like, where's the line drawing stealing there? Or, obviously the whole abortion becomes a great morality of killing, but a more, like, actual one. Because this is kind of the it's like not even quite there yet, so you can't even call it that necessarily without actually knowing. And the definition, well, I think the problem is your understanding of life has to be more scientific than legal. And, you know, we don't make laws based on science for some reason. Although science has laws. Yeah, when was the last time you made a law based on science? No, really. I want to know. Tell me your best science-inspired laws right now. So yeah, that, and then you have the whole, well, I mean, the whole adultery thing. It's like, you know, that's really a problem if the other person says no. Otherwise, whatever. And then you have the whole... Oh yeah, that's the best one. It's like, honor your father and mother. It's like, really? What's that supposed to mean? Did I accidentally commit a thing? That's like going to hell for loitering. Like, is loitering so freaking bad? It's like, how dare you stand there in the middle of the road when the problem could be as solved as, let me just move you aside. You know? You don't need to arrest the person. He's just standing there. Not even menacingly. He just wants to let the man stand. Hello. You know? So, gray areas abound us. And it can be difficult to come to terms with that. It's not as if that's absolutely true. It is simply a matter of what is true now and what might not be true. Like, yeah. Same with, like, how I feel about veganism, because, first of all, plants are still living. Second of all, the whole trying to live without having to rely on meat. I understand. Animals are living things that we need to, like, treat better in order to maintain the balance. It's not as if the animals don't do it themselves. This is something discussed on... It's like a whole thing discussed on Futurama with the Wild Green Yonder or whatever that was. Like the last Futurama movie until they thought we canceled it and just bring it back like twice or something like that. But I am waiting on the whole them growing in milk labs sort of situation. If you can just have that, well, a number of things will happen. The first thing that'll happen is they're going to be mass produced like crazy, and then you won't need to like fatten up chickens with steroids anymore or something. And then you can focus on letting the stewards handle it. No one hunts them and all that stuff. So like, your management of animals will change dramatically. That's the first thing that should change. The second thing that's going to change, protein shakes businesses are going to go out of business. Who needs the protein shake when you can just have synthesized meat, like, all the freaking time? Just put all the enzymes in and kablamo. Just have this, like, high-grade vitamin meat, right? Vitamin plus meat. And watch it go. Okay, so that's my business idea right now. Lab-grown meat will replace protein shakes in the future. I mean, this is probably the most sensible prediction I think I've made. It's okay if I'm wrong, though. I just feel like that's quite likely what's going to happen when it's established. And that's just assuming, you know, nothing goes wrong. Like, you don't want badly cloned meat. We're not here for that. Star Wars: The Meat Wars.